This is my favorite time of the week where I get to talk about books. I really want to talk about Nobody's Girl, a 366-page memoir. It's about human trafficking. Pretty intense, I'll say. We all know about the Epstein files. We all know Epstein is just like a little pebble. Because it is a pebble, it leads to other pebbles. And it's also frustrating because it feels like nothing's done about it. We can do our own research. It is annoying, and we all also telepathically, whatever that connection, brain connection to brain connection, like we know what we need to do and what we really want to do. We don't want to get in trouble because we actually care about consequences. The crazy thing is that evil people don't care about consequences, and it is very frustrating. Virginia, who has changed her name for many reasons, trauma, identity things, it basically goes very deep into what makes someone, it's such a bad way to put it, but that's what it is, like a perfect victim. Because her story doesn't start with Epstein. No. When I was reading about Virginia, I was thinking about this, right? I was like, some people really do have very shitty luck. And I felt for Virginia. I felt for her. Because her abuse and her trauma started very young. I only want good people reading this memoir. People who care. Men and women. Because men go through this stuff too. But the difference is that the men, because they grow up with this, it's almost like a frat mentality where like you can't show weakness, you can't show feelings, and that's very toxic. It is so messed up how it often also it happens in children, like other children abusing children, and it's very common. But I feel like there is almost like a shame. Survivors of abuse, I think they carry more shame than the person who is doing the nasty stuff, which that I think we need to change. We need to put the blame and the shame on the abuser, because they're the ones out here pollinating shame. So survivors, why are you embarrassed? You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. Whatever you think you did to deserve that, you didn't do that, okay? Whatever you're thinking like, oh, I allowed this to happen because I didn't tell nobody. No. Nobody teaches us how to cope with these monsters. It's not your fault. Virginia does talk about her own experience trying to unmask from a very early age these monsters, and how sometimes the people around us fail and they either don't believe you. Honestly, I don't think that they don't believe you. Some people really do not like the responsibility of having to do something about it or cut ties because they don't have a backbone. They don't think they can do it alone. They have too much internalized like codependency. They care more about whoever you're dealing with, unfortunately, and especially if you're a kid and they're adults, like this can suck. We need to scream these things from the top of a mountain, from the rooftops. I understand why people are embarrassed. I understand why. But I don't think you should be, because like I said, you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. For example, I don't come off as a survivor or a victim. I feel like I don't give any of that because I've worked through that. I am a survivor, and I had to deal with stupid people who think they can get away with this stuff. If anybody does anything weird, I yell. I call it out. I will post it. Like, I will. That's what I mean. But that's like now. As a kid, it wasn't like that. I was very confused. But I still spoke up. Like, why should I be ashamed? I didn't do nothing. I don't care. Like, you don't have to be scared. But as a kid, you're not like that. As a kid, you want to hide it because you're afraid of so many things. You're not aware of the possibilities of what could happen. So the unknown is more scary. A lot of you are dealing with stupid people around you, and I understand why you don't like to speak up. I get it, okay? But there is people out there who either gone through it and understand it, or simply understand it and they do care and they want to do something about it. It is so bizarre. I think giving them names can help. For example, I remember My mom wasn't around at that time, like she is now, but at that time she wasn't, and I was left in the care of my father. And everything was fine with my grandpa Floriano or whatever, Floriano. I remember one of my aunts, his daughter was maybe around 18, 19 at the time, right? And we were playing this stupid song. It was like check on. Not even 9 years old. I was like between 8 and 9 years old. A freaking child. I was younger than my niece. I have like a niece that's like 11 now. I was younger than her when this happened, okay? And I didn't say this, okay? My friends say it to me. I just know things. Like, I just know things. That might say something about the people that I grew up around, you know, to try to protect myself. Maybe like a skill that I developed. It's a long story. I remember I was dancing and I wasn't even dancing weird. I was doing like this, you know, like I was dancing for the first time to like an adultish song. And like I said, it's not my fault, okay? Your child, it's your granddaughter, for God's sakes. Like, you shouldn't. No, like, if you're a pedophile, you're a pedophile. You like little children like that in a weird way. It's not what they did. I don't care. You're weird. Weird. You're fucking weird. My grandpa would ask me, Floriano, would ask me to, like, give him a massage, but not, like, with my hands. Like, step with my little feet on his back. In our family, like, it was, like, in front of everybody. Like, no one really batted an eye, and it was fine. But after this moment, right, something changed, and I saw it, and I saw it in his eyes. Like, this is why in my everyday life I don't make a lot of eye contact, because I feel like I can see people's souls, and like, I don't like it. I just looked at him and like, his eyes. I stopped dancing right away. Like, it was like a second decision that I made, and I was like, I feel weird about this. I don't like it. Things started getting very strange. Like, I stopped sleeping, and I think that's when I really started developing insomnia, because to this day now I don't see it as I need to stay awake because I feel weird or like I wake up in the night. It's more of I wish that the day was 24 hours and that I had enough time to do everything that I want to do, and I don't like sleeping because I don't want to miss a day of my life. Basically, long story short, I started protecting myself against him. I did tell on him. In a way, maybe I did it wrong, because see, sometimes when you're a kid, you get confused. Like, if I sat you here and I gave you all the details of what happened, what was happening around me, you would think like, oh yeah, that's very obvious. But sometimes what happens is like kids get confused. Like, they are describing the right event to you. They are describing like what is happening to them, but they might blame the wrong person. Literally let the kid think, like, give them time. Kids express at a way slower rate than you know. So it was very confusing. But like years later, I told my father. I told him everything. At the end of the day, we are animals. Some of us are better than others. That's never changed like how I feel about myself or anything. I'm really, really strong. I can lift a lot of weight. Okay, I'm very outspoken. I dance very freely. I dress how I want. Having hobbies and interests, not putting too much importance on people's opinions of you or putting people on a pedestal. No one's good at everything. I do encourage you to find your own ways to cope, because a lot of people will tell you like, oh, go to therapy. And listen, this helped Virginia, okay? A psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever you want. It works for a lot of people, but it doesn't work for everybody. My way of coping is completely different. Maybe you will learn a lot about Virginia's benefits of therapy and also what it's like to deal with it alone. Now, Virginia, her purpose was to survive. At first it was to escape, then it was to survive, and then Epstein files. You understand that there is people who are trying to cover up a lot of truth. And these people have access to the news. And sometimes it's really hard to trust a news source. So if you're interested in knowing what people are truly on the right side of history, it's probably a good idea that you read this book. Trump is mentioned in this memoir. He is involved and friends with people who are abusers. I hate that I have to say allegedly to cover my ass, but like, allegedly, he is one himself. And even though it might have not been Virginia specifically, if you read the memoir, you'll see exactly why Trump's name keeps popping up. Virginia explains Epstein tried to recruit one of Trump's very exclusive clients' daughters to give him a massage, or like, a massage. This girl didn't fit the usual victim or survivor. This girl had money, and her parents, it's like $200,000 that you gotta pay to be in the Mar-a-Lago golf club thing. They went for the wrong person. They made a mistake, and so Epstein got banned from Mar-a-Lago only because it affected Trump's pocket. He didn't ban Ghislaine Maxwell. He didn't ban any of the other buddies. He just said, you can't do that with my clients because I don't mess with your money, because we're friends. So yeah, that's the only reason why he got banned. And a lot of the times people use that to justify, oh, Trump is not involved because he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago because of his behavior. That's not why he did it. That's not why he did it. They continue to be friends and party and everything. Epstein's usual victims or survivors are very poor. He knows what he's going for. They're very young, they're very skinny, they're desperate. He knows that they need something. He knows how to smell a victim or survivor. That's why I started this speech, this whole video with like, I don't give that. Unfortunately, a lot of girls that go through these experiences, they think that by making themselves small and meek and softer, that maybe they'll avoid being targeted as like a victim. But it's actually the opposite. You should be outspoken, you should be loud, you should be free. Express yourself, dye your hair, be free. If I go to the clubs with my friends or family, I will dress however I want, and that's fine. I am with people that I genuinely love and trust. I have a lot to explore still when it comes to books. It was tough. It took me so long to actually sit down with my thoughts. I was trying to get through the book, through the memoir, and I think May was it is gonna be the hardest month in 2026 for me. I hope that I didn't give out too much of what the story of Virginia is about. I know her family is very proud of her. I think it's good to support her family and her cause, and to keep the message alive. Know about it, to talk about it. And I think she wrote this book mainly for people who have been through it. It's a good book to pick up, and I hope you liked it. My name's Hugh Clouds, and I will see you soon. Peace.
It's crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. Crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious.